What's up, it's your boy Super Mario 1990 coming at y'all with a Wonder Woman 1984 review, WW84. Let's just start off with the positives. I really liked the first Wonder Woman. That was a really good movie from beginning to end. It got a little dragged out at the end a little bit, but still, it was like nearly flawless. And then you get to the sequel, and I was anticipating it because the trailer was really good. Both the trailers were really good. And I'm like, man, this is gonna be on par with the first one. Maybe even a little better. If not better, it won't fall that much under. So when I saw the movie, it started off good. It did start off good. It had good ideas, good concepts. I liked the themes. I liked what was explored, the execution and how things were explored. That's where it got flawed. The movie drags. It's 2.5 hours, honestly, for no reason. The first film was 2 hours. This movie kind of just goes back and forth. Like the introduction to Kristen Wiig's character, Barbara Minerva, was, I think, the bright spot in the movie. Was really good. I really liked her character, and I really wanted to get more into her character. The crazy thing is, when you start the movie off, you see a lot of her, and you kind of like see her, what she's about, and I think like a relatable character to I think most. And then her arc changes, and she kind of becomes different, kind of transforms. That's where it gets really interesting, and that's why I want to see more of her. But then the movie kind of just drops her into the background, it drops her further back, and I'm kind of looking like, okay, they spent a lot of time building her up and developing her. And some of it could have been cut down. Some of it was like, okay, we kind of get the point. Can we kind of move on? But when we do really see the transformation, we actually want to see more, that's when they're like, yeah, they just cut a lot of things out. They spent more time developing her, which could have been dialed back a little bit. And that's how most of this movie goes. Like, there's a lot of things in here where it's kind of like, there's good ideas, like I said, there's good concepts, but the execution is just flawed and poor. And things are just dragged out for no reason. Like, this movie could have been severely cut down, I feel like. This movie shouldn't have been no more than 1 hour, 45 minutes. Like, there's a lot of fluff in there that's just unnecessary. And, like, the first aspect that I really liked of Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman movie, was kind of like the whole fish out of water thing. Because, you know, Diana, she was on Themyscira, you know, never left the island, right? No men were allowed, they all Amazons, right? And then now she's on, you know, Man's World with Steve. And it was really funny because she's like just talking crazy like about, you know, goddesses and gods and Aries and all that. And Steve looking kind of like, yo, like, I understand that's where you're from and everything. I've been over there, I know how y'all get down, but over here, people up here don't really believe in that kind of stuff. So you might want to like keep that down because you sound kind of like a weirdo. People gonna think you crazy, like, you can't be saying stuff like that. And then, you know, she tried to like, you know, undress and like, because he had her, you know, dressed up in like, you know, traditional women's clothing. And you look like, yeah, because you can't go out there with the stuff that you wearing from the Themyscira. You can't wear that stuff out here. Like, don't no women look like that out here. Like, you can't be doing that. Whipping out swords and all, you can't do that. You got to keep that on the low. And so that was like really funny. That's what kept the movie really going for me. This movie is kind of funny because they kind of flip it. Because now Diana's been, you know, on Man's World for all these years, and Steve Trevor was supposedly dead way back then, but now he comes back. And the way he comes back, I felt, was pretty clever, and it's really good to have him back in the movie because their relationship is what drove the first movie. It had a lot of heart in that movie, and in this one, you kind of see it here, but it's not as interesting. Like, it kind of just fizzles out a little bit, kind of like loses its edge. But in this one, they kind of flipped the whole fish out of water thing, because he's never been in the 80s before, so it's like it's a whole different world from what he's used to. And I was expecting that to be like the, you know, really good parts of the film. I was expecting that to really like explore the 80s again, kind of like bring back a lot of 80s nostalgia. Now maybe I shouldn't say that because I was born in 1990. I'm probably not allowed to say 80s nostalgia, but I don't think they hit on that a lot. I was disappointed. I was underwhelmed. I think the best bits that you get are in the trailers. And when you see the movie, they don't provide much more than that. It's just kind of like, oh, it's like a chuckle here and there, and that's it. As far as it being 84, you kind of almost forget. Like in the very beginning, they let you know it's the 80s, right? But then as you go along into the movie, you kind of forget, like the 80s just plays in the background, like deep in the background. You know, outside of people not pulling out, you know, iPhones and all that. You know it's set in the past, but it doesn't feel 80s after a while. Like there's not a lot of licensed music. There's not a lot of references. Now, I don't know, maybe they just didn't want to go overboard, or maybe they just weren't allowed to, because I mean, you know, there are rights, you know, royalties and things like that. So maybe that kind of played into it. Maybe they just didn't have the budget for it. Or maybe there were a lot of 80s things and I just missed it because I was born in 1990. Maybe I'm just stupid. Maybe I just didn't catch a lot of stuff that was supposed to be 80s. But what was ever that was in my face all out right there was kind of like, yeah, okay. But y'all ain't really hitting like I thought y'all would. But yeah, I want to like it. I don't dislike the movie, but it's like there's just a lot of good things that they had going for it. It's like a lot of potential, but it's not reached. They come up short on nearly every aspect, and the movie just drags. It's 2.5 hours. Should not have been that long. A lot of things should have been cut down. It's to the point where it's like, okay, I get the point. I'm good on that. Can we move to what's next? And they don't really do that. They drag on this one thing, and then they get to the next thing, and then they drag on that too. And it's like, okay, we get it. Can we just keep it moving? And then there are things that you want them to explore more of and do more of, and they just don't. Like I said, with the whole fish out of water, they could have did a little more with that. They just didn't. It could have been better. You know, I felt like, you know, that scene in the trailer when he was trying on the clothes, and Diana was like,
I think we can do better.
But they just didn't. Yeah, it doesn't come full circle really well. And the action in this movie, there are not a lot of action sequences. Now, I mean, for me and the action junkie that I am, I'm cool with not a lot of action as long as your movie actually tells a really good story. As long as you got like a really good narrative going, like, you know, the Batman, the Dark Knight trilogy movies. I wouldn't say they were action packed, but they were really good in the Batman mythos, and I was really into Batman. I was really into the philosophies of it all, and I was really into the narrative and the plots and just how they told the story, how they developed the characters and how dark that it was, how they explored these deep roots. And so everything was so interesting to the point where I didn't care if Batman wasn't smashing somebody's face in every 15, 20 minutes. I didn't care if the Batmobile wasn't flipping off bridges. I didn't care. Everything was going so smooth. I didn't want to mess up the vibe of the storytelling. And with Wonder Woman, it's like the storytelling is very flawed. At least give me an action sequence or two in there. What were there, like 3 or 4? Maybe there was more than that. I don't know. But it just wasn't a lot. It was not on a level of the first Wonder Woman movie at all. So I don't know what the budget was for this film or what they put more money into, but it wasn't toward the action. When you do see the action sequences, they are pretty good. They're pretty good for what they are. It's, you know, it's like in the first Wonder Woman. They're just like the choreography and everything. I was always really impressed by the choreography. I really like the slow motion moments, and she's whipping that thing around the lasso and everything, and you know, she's doing her thing, throwing people left and right, going slow motion, like all that's cool. It's in there, but it's in there briefly. I would have liked a few more action sequences, especially if the story was going to be just dragged out and really not go anywhere like you thought it would. It's kind of like, it's just very underwhelming. I honestly don't know where they're going to go next, you know, with DC, because DC is like, with this universe, as far as it goes, it's like, it's hit or miss. And when they hit, they just barely hit. You know, they don't like swish. They just kind of like, they hit the rim and it goes in. Like, and then some are just like air balls, like just all the way off to the left out of bounds. This movie, I felt like it was a bank shot that hit the rim like 3 times. Like you shoot it and it's like boom, hits the front rim, goes back to the backboard, goes off to the left, goes off to the right, and then it bounces in. And so you're looking at it like, yeah, I guess it was alright. I guess it was alright. Like that's how this movie is. The first Wonder Woman hit the front rim, went in. Like, you know, it wasn't the best superhero movie that I've seen, but it was really, really good. It was, and I wouldn't say top tier. If you do say top tier, I ain't gonna argue with you, but it was just below, like second tier. You know, I don't want to say where this one is, but it's definitely not second, not quite third, maybe a little under that. But yeah, I was disappointed. it's weird to explain. I didn't dislike the movie, but I was disappointed. And I think why I didn't dislike it was because I liked the idea. I liked where the movie should have went. I like what they, I guess, tried or attempted to do. They just didn't do it well. The plot was actually good. The plot was good. It's just how they went about doing things and the decisions that they made. Like the poorest decision, I think, was Kirsten Wiig's character, Barbara Minerva, taking so much time to develop her character in the beginning, and then when she hits the pinnacle of her arc, she just drops off and just fades off, just fades away. And I'm like, that was a mistake. We could have developed her, but kept it succinct, and then saw more of her as she progressed and as she evolved, and kind of got more into her head. But it's kind of like we got into her head in the beginning, and it's like, okay, we get it. But they kept driving more and more and more. And then when it's like, ooh, this is really interesting. I really want to know what she's about now. And it's like, yeah, nah, y'all not going to see that. And it's like, oh, okay. That just makes it seem like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I really wanted to, like, really like this movie. And I'm like, it's decent. It's decent. It's nothing more than decent. It's nothing less than decent. I've seen worse. You know, I'm not going to bash the movie. I've seen worser, but I've also seen a lot better. You know, as far as DC is concerned, I like this better than Justice League. I like this way better than Batman versus Superman. That's where I really liked Gal Gadot, because I remembered her from Fast and Furious. But I'm like, man, like, she did really good as Wonder Woman. Like, it's Batman versus Superman, but I wish they had Wonder Woman's name in there. And then she gets her own movie. I'm like, okay, now that's what's up. Because she deserved that. She was the best part about Batman versus Superman. So it's cool to see her get her own movie. And Justice League was actually, I came into really like bottom of the barrel expectations with Justice League. And I ended up thinking like, okay, you know what, this was actually semi-half decent. So, you know, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Still really didn't like it. Didn't really too much care for it. But, you know, she did a good job in there. Wonder Woman 84, I do think is better than those two movies. I felt like the first Wonder Woman had great pacing all the way through. Good ideas and all of that, just like the sequel did. But they knew how to execute. They knew the right buttons to push. They knew when to hit. The action was really good, and it didn't overstay its welcome. And everything kept flowing. Everything kept going with a really good equal pace. Like I said, the only thing that I had a problem with was just toward the end, when Steve Trevor, you know, he sacrificed his life, you know, rest his soul and all that. And then, you know, it's Wonder Woman and Ares. They have this little argument and blah, 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 blah. And it's kind of looking like, okay, yeah, can y'all get to it though? Like, I got the point, like in a few sentences. Just get to the point, fight, you know, end that, and then boom. This movie, it was just like no good pacing at all. Good ideas, good foundations, just don't know how to present them and how to bring them. The great thing about it with WB, they put it on HBO Max the same exact day as the theatrical release, which is really nice. And that's how I saw it. I didn't go to the theaters. I just sat back in my room. You know, I had my TV swiveled over. I was just laying in my bed chilling. I had my popcorn right here, my microwave popcorn, you know. I put it in the microwave. I went on YouTube because I had it on my PS4. I got it on my PS4. That's how I watched it. I got the app on the PS4, so I watched it on my TV. And I just, you know, popped some popcorn in. Went to YouTube and watched some trailers. Like I was doing like, you know, real previews like the theater would do. Turned my lights off, had my popcorn ready, went right to the movie, was ready. And, you know, it's a really nice experience. I really like it. It's really cool to actually watch a theatrical release day one at your crib. Like, that's really nice. So I like what WB is doing with this. You know, everything is convenient too, because you got your house, right? I got the heat working. You go to a real movie theater, especially like if you living in the Four Seasons during the wintertime when it get really cold, you get pissed off because the movie theaters, the heaters don't work. You be sitting there with your coat on, like in your chair with the coat on. You got a large coat, drinking with your gloves on. It's crazy. It's like this stuff just don't work. So here it was real nice. It was real convenient. And I know that they may be missing out on a lot of money. Like I don't know like what their share is as far as people watching this with subscriptions. I don't know like how much of a share that they get from that for their movie. I don't know if it's, you know, significantly less than what they would get as far as box office sales goes. But I mean, during this pandemic, it's like you're gonna take a loss either way. So I think it's better to actually have your movies available in a convenient manner like this, you know, through a subscription service, because now people can actually see it if they really want to. And I think the good thing about it too is if they really like it enough, you get to own the movie later on. They might actually be like, okay, I want to buy the movie when it comes to Blu-ray. You get the exposure. So now people might want to buy it on Blu-ray, 4K, DVD. They might want to own it, you know, on demand, digitally, whatever. So they can just have it and watch it whenever they want to, download it, things like that. So I think it'll provide goodwill for that. And you might actually get some people watching movies that they probably wouldn't have wasted their money on in the movie theater with. They probably would actually like watch it right now, and they might actually be surprised. They might actually like it, and it might lead to, you know, more profits down the road. So I think this is actually a good move. I mean, I feel like you're gonna lose money either way, but at this rate, I think you might gain some goodwill from this because it's really convenient, it's really nice, and I'm actually gonna watch The Matrix 4 when that comes to HBO Max, because I was not gonna watch that movie in theaters. I love The Matrix, the first one. The other two, I don't know what they was doing. I don't know why they're making a fourth one. But if it's gonna come to, you know, day one, HBO Max, cool, I'll check it out. I'll check it out instead of going to the theaters. I would not spend my money on that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And if you didn't know, WB is actually dropping all of their movies from 2021. They're gonna be dropping all of them straight to HBO Max the same exact day as it comes out in theaters. So it's like either you can go to the theaters if you want to, or you can just stay at home, chill, get the HBO Max for $15 a month. Even if it's just for that 1 month for that one movie that you want to see, which is really cool too, because now you're getting turned on to a service. People might be like, oh, I like the movies they got in here. I like the selection. I like the TV shows. They might actually be in the middle of binging the TV show the month ago out. They're like, you know what, let me spend another 15 because I want to finish up on Euphoria, you know, or whatever. So it's like, it's really good. So I think what they got going on is cool. I hope more people follow in their footsteps. Who knows if they're going to do it? Like I said, I don't know the profit margins, what the losses are if they, you know, go this route as opposed to just going for full box office. But it's like, if you just go for full box office, not every theater I think is open. And of course, not everybody's willing to go to the theaters right now. And even if they are willing to go to the theaters, there's a lot of guidelines and rules. You know, theaters cannot even be 100% capacity. There has to be like 30 or 40% because you got to space out. You can't sit everywhere like you want to. You can't overcrowd the theater. So it's like there's a lot of restrictions that are going to prevent you from getting the max box office dollar anyway. So you might as well, you know, bridge something. But you know, that's that. But this was Wonder Woman 1990, giving y'all a review of Wonder Woman 84, WW 84. Let me know what y'all think. If y'all seen the movie, if y'all want to go see the movie. If you disagreed with, you know, if you liked it, and you know, whatever, you know, you just talk about it. But yeah, this was Super Mario 1990, and I'm out. Peace in.